Actually, I would like to congratulate LTO9 because this Congress, this Road Safety Congress, has been conceptualized by our very own Regional Director and Region 9, Attorney Aminula Abaton.
Minsan sinasabi ko sa kanila, gawin man po natin itong Road Safety Congress na to, hindi. So sweldo at so sweldo pa rin tayo. 15 kada 30, so sweldo pa rin tayo. Pero do we live with that kind of guilt that we know that we have to do something? Ganun lang po yung naging panawagan namin. And I think it's about time that this issue should be in the front line, should be put in the agenda, it should be the prime fight to ensure that our children will be safe while going to school and while going home. Bahagi po yan ng kampanya ng ating convergence at nangyari lang po yan dahil sa sama-sama at paniniwala. Paniniwala po na kung ano yung krusada natin pagdating po sa road safety, dapat po natin maituloy.
Road accidents or road crash is very common in the city, and I would like to thank our LTO for spearheading this activity. On behalf of the city government of Zamboanga, let us really come up with doable solutions to prevent further accidents and further deaths in our highways.
We're very excited to have this activity, and we hope that this Congress will be like our Congress. Hindi nare-realize ng karamihan na itong mga nangyayari na injuries, death, so forth, mas marami ang nanggagaling mula sa aksidente sa road crashes.
We in the city government of Zamboanga as mayor commit to exercise all our efforts in support of our road safety to ensure that every life of every citizen will be protected from accidents. Director Aminula and the entire LTO, enhorabuena contigo. Congratulations for being an exemplar in service and really acting on the #1 problem in our region.
Let us do justice to what we're doing today. More than signing the manifesto, alalahanin po ninyo. Tayong lahat, road safety is about saving lives. And who knows, the life that we'll be saving might be yours.
Malaking bahagi ng aksidente or dahilan ng pagkakamatay sa Pilipinas ay dahil na rin sa kapabayaan sa kalsada at hindi ligtas na kalsada. Kaya naman, ang Zamboanga Ecozone is committed to ensure that we will participate.
Enough with loss of limbs, all because of a senseless road crash. Today, we will forge a partnership because through partnership, through convergence, we can make our roads safer.
Road safety is a shared responsibility. Yan ho ay ang top priority ng DOTR. Ang kaligtasan ng mga commuters, passengers, at lahat-lahat. Ngayon na po ang panahon na kung saan ang mga drivers ay dapat mag-ingat, hindi dahil sa takot na sila ay manghuli o mapinalize, kung hindi dahil sila ay may tunay na malasakit sa mga pedestrians, sa mga commuters at sa lahat.
I hope that at the end of this workshop, at the end of the day, we can come out with our manifesto or commitment that we all of us here, the interagencies, can signify our concrete intention really to foresee that indeed road safety advocacy should be the fight that we must all fight on all fronts.
Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, isang mapagpalayang umaga po sa kanilang lahat at muli ito po ang ating Vantage Point Media, Political Frontiers, Attorney Alex Sabaton, at pag-uusapan po natin sa araw na to yung mga isyung kinasasangkutan or issues that needs to have clarification, tulad na lang po ng issue ng mga motorcycle lane, dahil alam naman po natin recently the Supreme Court has lifted TRO, partially lifted the TRO for NCAP, and eventually nakita natin sa mga sumunod na ilang linggo na nagkaroon po tayo ng implementation ng NCAP, at isa sa pinaka hindi naman maingay but vocal insofar as how NCAP should be implemented ay yung iba't ibang grupo ng ating mga motorcycle riders, at hindi lang po yan, nagpatawag din po sila at ng unity ride against motorcycle lane. So, yung mga ganyang klaseng usapin, pag-uusapan po natin yan, yung issue ng road safety, pagdating doon sa mga issue na ito yung that concerns the transport sector, malaking bagay po na mabigyan natin ng perspective, especially so that we have a new Secretary of the Department of Transportation sa katawan po ni Secretary Vince Dizon, at alam din po natin na isa siya doon sa mga secretary retained no less by the President for his sterling performance nito mga nakaraang linggo, lalo na doon sa usapin ng mga sa sektor ng transportation, ang banggit ng iba't ibang nakakausap nating grupo, napakadaling lapitan at on the job, sabi nga nila, ito yung hindi naman nagma-micromanage but madaling pag may mga issue, right on track yung kanyang mga decision. But mapalad po tayo ngayong umaga dahil makakausap po natin ang isa sa conveners ng ating Motorcycle Rights Organization, MRO, at tatanungin din po natin kung ano yung mga to borrow the language ng ating mga kabataan, ano yung mga hugot, but of course Jobert Bulaños po ng ating MRO. Boss, good morning.
Good morning, Attorney. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you also for finding time. But, well, ganito, alam naman natin, over the past few weeks, kanya-kanyang observation. May nagsasabing napakaganda ng implementation. MMDA was commended by other sector. Some of those sectors naman very critical, in such a way na sabi nila dapat pinag-isipan ng maayos, dapat ganito yung ginawa, bago dapat nagkaroon ng re-implementation, malinaw yung mga panuntunan sa case ng MRO, Jobert. How do you see all these things play up nowadays?
Okay, malaking bagay yung aesthetics na nakikita natin, kasi we see cars lining up, motorcycles lining up, maluwag at free moving yung mga PUVs on Commonwealth. This is all in good.
Okay.
For the people who watches it but does not experience it.
Okay.
Pero for those na dumadaan sa kalsada, at that point na nagsisikip na siya, let's say papasok na ng rush hour, yung kasagsagan na ng traffic, like I said, it's all imagery and it looks good. I have to admit, napakagandang tignan, but the experience itself, based on the research and feedback na nakuha namin from drivers, from passengers of the PUVs and motorcycle riders, hindi nag-ease yung traffic. In fact, their travel time increased by more than 60 minutes on average. Especially kapag dumating na sila sa point ng rush hour.
Okay.
Now, as far as safety is concerned, naging mas maganda sa side ng private vehicles kasi, again, hindi na nakakasabay ang motorsiklo dun sa mga lanes nila because all of the motorcycles now are squeezed in dun sa single lane. Pero what does that mean dun sa two-wheeled natin? Sa two-wheeled natin, para na silang sardinas. They're packed in together. Mas tight ngayon yung packing nila. When it comes to motorcycles po kasi, hindi po yan katulad ng kotse. You're inside a cage. Kaya nga minsan ang tawag sa kotse is a cage. You're in a cage, you're protected by that cage, you're not exposed. Sa motorsiklo kasi exposed ka. Now, very important sa isang rider yung tinatawag natin na margin of safety. That is your safety bubble. Kung saan you protect that safety bubble, you make sure that you always have that margin of safety to keep you safe. Okay? It can be on the road, it can be other motorcyclists or other vehicles on the road, road furniture, for example. They lost that Nawala yan nung pinak-in na sila doon sa iisang lane. Now let's talk volume. Sa volume ng sasakyan, we all know that motorcycles already outnumber private vehicles. So sila yung pinakamarami. They move more people, they move more product, they move everything from letters to medicine. So as far as participation to economic growth, mas malaki ang sa motorcycle. And yet, they are only given a single lane to use and utilize. Pero, yun nga, maraming misconception sabi nila, mas magandang tignan. Sabi nila, mas organisado. Sabi nila, mas safe. Kasi nga, hindi na naghahalo ang motor at saka kotse. But in reality, for the motorcycle rider, it is far from safe. Kasi, if you're packed in that tight at ganun kayo kalapit sa isa't isa, magdikit ang handlebar niyan. Yung sa dulo lang ng handlebar, magdikit lang yan. There's an accident waiting to happen. And when that happens, especially during yung tight hours of the day, during rush hour, kapag tumumba yung isa, ang tendency, pati yung katabi niya, yung tinamaan niya, tutumba rin, yung nasa likod, ganun din. What if they fall to the lane of the cars? Worse, what if they fall to the lane of the buses coming in? Di ba maluwag sila? So they move faster. At magulungan yung rider. And this has happened already. We have recorded incidents already, minor to major accidents on the motorcycle lane. Ito lang nakaraang linggo. But thankfully, hindi ito dahil nagsagian yung dalawang motor. It was because they got sideswiped. Either by a PUV or they got sideswiped by a private vehicle. Kasi yung motorcycle lane nga natin sits in between the PUV lane and the private. Commonwealth, much like EDSA, maraming ins and outs, mga connecting roads, diba? May mga intersections yan, may mga side roads yan, and then you have the establishments, the gasoline stations, the buildings, and so on and so forth. So, everyone coming into Commonwealth or EDSA will cross the motorcycle lane. They have to. Hindi sila pwede sa PUV lane
Totoo.
When they leave, ganun din ho ang situation. So, yung tinawag nilang exclusive lane, ang motorcycle lane, medyo nagtaka kami. Did they change the meaning of the word? So, it's not an exclusive lane. It can never be an exclusive lane. People even call it dedicated lane. No, it's not. Kasi people have to cross it whenever they enter or exit.
So kumbaga misnomer yung ganun or part ng aesthetic mo na masabi lang na no, we have devoted a dedicated or an exclusive lane. Pero balikan ko lang boss yung kasi yung tangible. Of course, sinasabi natin kanina na contrary to the proposition na mas safe yung mga riders having this pack into one lane, mas malupit yung tendency to have an accident because of yung binabanggit mo kanina, no?
Yung margin of safety.
Margin of safety. Pero prior to the re-implementation of NCAP, in terms of numbers, anong na-monitor natin? Para lang alam natin kung saan tayo yung perspective ng discussion din natin doon.
Ang daily kasi, okay, as far as numbers are concerned, and this report comes from MMDA.
Okay.
As far as numbers are concerned, ang four-wheel and pataas na sasakyan na dumadaan sa Commonwealth is close to 180, if I'm not mistaken. 180,000 a day.
Daily.
Motorcycle comes close behind at 170. Okay? Pero the footprint of motorcycles kasi is much, much smaller.
Yeah, that's true.
Sa kotse, yung mga single occupancy cars, you can easily fit 3 to 4 motorcycles. So, yung motosiklo, pwedeng may angkas din yan, and so forth. Ang sabi nga nila, isa lang naman o dalawa lang naman sa akin ng motorsiklo eh. Paano dadami yan? It's because of their sheer numbers that pass through. Okay? Now, unlike PUVs na nagsasakay baba ng pasahero, ang motorsiklo has always a destination. So kapag dinaanan ka niyan, that's it. That's the last time you'll see that motorcycle. Kasi tutuloy na yan eh. Hindi yan hihinto along the way tapos makikita mo ulit siya passing you by again and again and again. Now, in these numbers, let's talk about the accidents. Okay. This report also comes from MMDA. It's the MARAS report.
Yeah,
okay?
of course.
If people don't know about the MARAS report, this is the Metro Manila Authority accident reporting system. So we use this to look at the situation as far as road safety is concerned. In the accident percentage, 54, if I'm not mistaken, it's around that number, 54% accidents belongs to the cars. And only 20+% belongs to the motorcycle.
Okay.
Kahit na mas marami ang motorsiklo sa kotse. So, what does that tell you? There is a misconception nga talaga. But, the fact of the matter is, we live in an environment, a road environment, where there's, parang organized chaos on the street. Okay? But, our chaos is also due to the fact that Metro Manila has very little urban planning, proper urban planning. Okay? The road widens and narrows from time to time. It changes lanes. May U-turns tayo along the highway and so on and so forth. Tapos we have the structures, the elevated U-turns, the underpass, the overpass. You have the trains being built and so on and so forth. But is it really that organized? Kasi there are sections of Commonwealth, for example, na walang choice ang PUV kundi dumaan sa motorcycle lane. When they are not supposed to. And that's what MMDA said. Hindi pwede ang PUV sa motorcycle lane. Pero dun sila nagbababa, dun sila nagsasakay. Do we see any apprehensions happening? We don't. And then at certain times of the night, nagiging linya yan ng mga tindero.
Totoo naman.
Diyan sila nagtitinda. But the fact of the matter is, the focus of apprehensions, violations, the focus of, where they're focusing their attention on as far as getting these people disciplined, they're focusing only on the motorcycles, for the most part. Pero we all know that when you fix a problem, you cannot just work on a corner and hope that everybody else gets fixed. It doesn't happen that way. When you fix a problem, you have to hit it first sa root cause. Ano ba root cause natin? Hinayaan natin na maging ganito ang kalsada. We let our roads become this way. Our enforcement is ningas kugon at best. Gumagawa tayo ng bagong policy and apply the new policy that we cannot even implement the existing ones properly. Tapos we're moving on to the newer policies.
Pero, George, yung binabanggit mong mga root causes, these causes have been there for quite a period of time.
Yes.
And unfortunately, parang base doon sa mga nagiging discussion natin, parang isa more of an artificial yung laging atake natin doon sa problema, but we are not looking to the very core of the issues.
The core, yes.
Like for example, doon na lang sa usapin nung, kasi may mga pag-aaral din na ginawang yung University of the Philippines,
yes,
way back in 2017, 18, and 19, At lumalabas doon that major factors, part of it, yung behavioral din eh. Then attitude. In fact, may nakalagay pa nga doon na ang Pilipino raw, mayroon tayong tendency to violate traffic rules or traffic laws, no? But basically, parang nangyayari dito, nilalagay natin yung karwahe bago yung kabayo eh. Dahil if you have a unstable solution for every issues, lalo na't ang nagiging tendency madalas dyan ay yung bang artificially, because aesthetic ka mo nung nag-umpisa ka pa lang doon sa statement mo na of course other may not agree with you, but if you look at the views or whatever may be the posting,
actual experience,
magkaiba yung actual experience at saka doon sa ipinapakita, no?
Yes.
Well, kung titingnan mo, napakaayos, parang nasa isang linya lang. But having been in the road yourself, nakikita mo na ito mukhang hindi ganito yung what's happening on the ground.
There are things that, you know, the videos and the pictures do not show.
Yeah.
And they're afraid to show it. In fact, before the start of NCAP, our group was called in for another discussion. So, doon sa discussion na yun, there were 4 groups that attended. 2 advocate groups, well, 3 advocate groups and 1 party list was in attendance in that meeting. Doon sa meeting na yun, the base question is, do you agree or disagree with the motorcycle lane?
Okay.
Out of the 4, yung 3 disagree. And the only one who agreed is the group that proposed the motorcycle lane in the first place. We did not know the story behind it, but we did know that yung purpose nila at yung design nila hindi nasunod, kasi syempre it will always be the agency who will decide in the long run kung ano yung magiging disenyo ng motorcycle lane. So doon pa lang hindi na nasunod yun eh. So sila lang yung grupo na nag-agree na ituloy ang motorcycle lane this 2025.
Okay.
The other 3 disagreed. When the agency came up with the article regarding that consultation, ang lumalabas, all groups were consulted and agreed.
Okay.
So kami, umalma kami kaagad doon. This is a lie. This is a blatant misrepresentation of the actual facts of the hearing. Masama nito, on social media, sumasagot ang ilang members ng agency nila na pinagtatanggol yung pinalabas nila na meeting. So, on that part, sabi ko, it all rushed back to me eh. Since 2013, every time they try to re-implement the motorcycle lane, we always react with a position paper. Kasi that's how it's supposed to be. Kung may problema ka, you put it on paper. So in these years, may mga years kasi nawala eh. But in every year that we submitted a position paper, MMDA never answered back. We hit on every single aspect: legal, moral, safety, logical, urban planning, the difference between lane splitting and lane filtering, okay? Studies here and abroad.
Napaka-technical ng mga hinihingi niyong kasagutan, no? Kaya medyo hirap din silang...
We also offer the solution.
But of course, mandato nila yan eh.
Nasagutin.
Nasagutin yan. In fact, that's even provided for by law.
Yeah.
That you really have to reply. Especially so when issues raised are as... kumbaga, imbued with public interest, so to speak, no?
They never did. They never did. Now, in those papers, there's a few questions that are not included. Kasi ayoko naman din magsalita ng pabalang against the agency that implements it. We want them to listen. And we want them to gauge, you know, based on actual experience from the road users themselves, and what they're doing, and what their intention is. So sabi nila, the intention is for safety. It's not safety. It's not safe for us. Ang dami ng na-aksidente, property damage, injury, and even fatalities inside the motorcycle lane. And it's never the fault of the motorcycle kasi sinasagasaan sa ibang sasakyan.
Yung bang sinasabi nila for the safety, ano ba yan, contextually na meron silang sariling pananaw doon? Or, of course, as rider, you yourself, alam mo yung context ng
When they talk
safety.
to us, they say it's for our safety.
Okay.
When they talk to other people, they talk about their safety. So ang question namin dito, kaninong safety nga ba talaga ang pinag-uusapan natin? Safety ba namin o safety ng ibang sasakyan who does not want to be close to the motorcycle?
Okay.
Because again, alam mo naman ng Pilipinas, ang motorsiklo kahit kasalanan niya, kapag nabangga mo yan at natumba yan, nasaktan yan at namatay yan, ikaw ang pinupush na managot. Diba?
Totoo.
Yan ang isa sa pinakamalaking problema ng batas natin. You need a very good lawyer to defend yourself. But in any case kasi, safety is a shared responsibility. And when you say it's a shared responsibility, you cannot just rely on one sector and fix that sector and hope that everybody else gets fixed along the way. Doon na lang tayo sa accident report. Diba? Sino mas maraming aksidente? Kotse ba o motor? Kotse eh. Why are we fixing the motorcycles? The problem here is, yun nga, yung kapabayaan at saka yung mindset na iniwan natin sa road users natin na minsan, yung enforcement mismo natin ang nagtuturo. For example, kapag lumalala na ang volume o yung traffic, dinidisregard nila yung stoplight. Diba? They stop, they order the road users to disregard the stoplight, tapos rely on the enforcers on the road. Minsan pinapa zipper lane or pinapa counterflow. The fact of the matter is, our issue is sobrang congested ng Metro Manila, and we're trying to fix a problem na the only way for it really to decongest is by vehicle reduction.
Okay.
Yun na lang ang
So
pag-asa.
ano talaga yan? It's really more of a volume of numbers of motor vehicles, because of course our road can only accommodate
So much
numbers of vehicles, no? But ito yung reality na halimbawa doon nga sa motorcycle, single motorcycle, no, ang binabanggit doon sa sinasabi mo na yung motorcycle overtaken na nga yung numbers ng 4 wheels, because in 2025 o first quarter pa lang lumalabas ka na halos nasa 400,000 yata yung newly registered motorcycle. So
as of
pa
June
lang
1st, 700,000.
700 yan. So ibig sabihin niya, kung meron kang, let us say for every year na lang, meron kang additional 1 million newly registered motorcycle, that will really clog the roads. Pero pag sinabi nating reduction, dahil ang problema natin dyan, Jobert, wala naman tayong batas na you can only have so much car na sasabihin, ito, dalawa lang sa'yo, or in Metro Manila, you are only allowed so much number of vehicles. Pero ano yung pwedeng, I mean you being there in the advocating this kind of policy, no? Ano yung mga possible tangible na pwedeng magawa? Do we have to legislate na dapat ito, you can only have 2 or 3 or 4 cars in Metro Manila?
So far,
I mean, for discussion purposes lang.
So far, sa mga policies na pinairal natin, ang pinaka naging effective at sustainable is yung number coding.
Number coding.
Okay. But the number coding only applies to private vehicles.
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't include motorcycles. It doesn't include PUVs. Kasi, fact of the matter is, our goal should be concentrated on improving and making more effective yung ating public utility vehicle. You have a good urban planning and good control of your nation if the rich uses public utility.
That's true. I couldn't agree more with that proposition.
But at this point in time kasi, all of the discussions that we've had since we've joined the party in 2008, everything has just been discussion. And then if there's implementation, again, papasok na naman yung word na ningas kugon. They start something, We talk about it, we plan it, get it funded, start it, but we don't sustain it. So that leaves a dent. So kung puro ganun ang ginagawa natin, hindi natatayo yung...
Kumbaga nagiging reactive na lang tayo doon sa mga...
React na lang tayo na react, pero unstable na yung... Every year, mas nagiging unstable yung situation. So it's not helping, instead lumalala.
Pero wala bang, halimbawa, of course, ang MMDA naman ang mandate niyan. Yung Metro Manila na lang, sila yung frontline agency natin that caters for the management. Wala ka bang halimbawa yung 10-year plan or 20 years plan so that nasusundan mo yan? Kasi bumabalik tayo doon sa binabanggit mo na Ningas Kugon, which is cultural.
Yeah. Now, it's funny that you mentioned about mandate.
Yeah.
Okay, let me go to that word. The charter of MMDA, okay, is to help the LGUs in Metro Manila with their yung mandato ng LGU sa bawat lugar nila. For example, the motorcycle lane, the only reason MMDA implemented it is through the ordinance of Quezon City. Okay. So Commonwealth is under Quezon City. So may ordinance sila about the motorcycle lane. Back when it was just a small avenue. Now that it's super wide, even Quezon City, during the hearing, say na hindi na viable ang motorcycle lane. Ngayon, here comes the question. MMDA has no legislative power.
Totoo naman yan. Settled na ng ng Supreme Court yan.
But they're still making decisions, on the motorcycle lane, which is not a legislation, by the way. It's just a policy proposed by someone to MMDA that they picked up and used. Okay? Pero they're applying the penalties, they're applying restrictions, and so on and so forth, na causes a certain sector a whole new list of violations na wala din sa ibang sasakyan. Okay? So, dito pa lang may nakikita na tayong mali. This is beyond their charter. Paano pumasok dito? Now they're saying it's because of the Metro Manila Mayor's Council approval. They don't have legislative powers either. Kasi they have to rely on their council to pass an ordinance to fuel the need for. Nasaan ang ordinance ng Mandaluyong? Nasaan ang ordinance ng Makati? Nasaan ang ordinance ng Pasig?
Well, nakukuha yung context ng discussion mo na hindi pwedeng panggitin na meron silang legislative power because even the LGUs have their own respective legislative body to pass an ordinance in cases that involve yung kanilang specific LGUs, no? Pero parang ang binabanggit dun sa contention na pag ganun ang naging proposition ng MMDA, parang indirectly na sinasabi nila na considering na mayroong consent yung Metro Manila mayors, that gives us now the at least authority to also come up with, and it goes back doon sa issue ngayon ng Metro Manila traffic ordinance in 2023 that imposes, that paved the way for the single ticketing system. Pero of course, pag titingnan kung ang argumento mo, wala kayong legislative power, that ordinance ng MMDA can be questioned probably.
Yes, exactly.
Diba?
This is one of the reasons kung bakit maraming legal issues sa MMDA.
Kasi sabi nila, diba, what can be delegated cannot be delegated anymore. Ibig sabihin, of course, the legislative power cannot delegate it just to the MMDA to come up with a single ticketing system. Pero has there been someone raised that issue?
Well, meron naman. Meron naman. And here's the thing, we have LTO, we have DOTR, we have DPWH, who's supposed to be in charge of these things kasi sila ho ang may hawak ng actual standards na sinusunod ng Pilipinas. Kasi we have to follow international standards. Kasi we're part of, the ASEAN nations. But the fact of the matter is, when they started, working on the traffic system, the road markings, signages, and so on and so forth, lahat yan nawala na sa standard . The lines that we put on the road, they're off standard already. So what is MMDA doing to make sure that they're within standard if they're not even communicating with DPWH? Now, they're applying these rules. They're not even asking LTO na, okay ba to? Tama ba to? Is it within LTO rules and regulations for us to pass something like this? Sa totoo lang ho, sa lahat na nakausap kong naging chief ng LTO, none of them really agreed with the motorcycle lane because they know for a fact that the mandate is if you're a paying road tax vehicle owner, you have equal rights given by that privilege to use any part of the road. Now, if you give him a motorcycle lane, for example, sa Pilipinas lang ho, yung lane mo is within the lanes of everyone. Sa ibang bansa, ang motorcycle lane is a separate road.
Naman yun, no?
I've been to Vietnam recently. Umattend ako ng road safety conference for a private international company that invited me over. Sabi ng Vietnam, kasi alam mo naman ng Vietnam, diba? Their majority are motorcycles. Sabi ng Vietnam, we tried to fix traffic problem. But the more we fix, the more problem. So they went back to having the people just live side by side, pero with respect, with courtesy, and that they give way to one another. Pagka nagpunta ka sa Vietnam and you just observe the road, bihira ka makakakita ng traffic enforcer. Unlike the Philippines, which in fact has the most number of enforcement in all of Southeast Asia.
Okay.
Bihira ka makakita ng traffic light. Pero the flow of traffic there, continuously moving.
Yeah, that's true.
Continuously moving. Kahit sa pinakamasisikip nilang kalsada, nagsasalubong yung malaking sasakyan at yung maliit na sasakyan. Pero they don't get stuck.
Pero yung observation, kasi nakita ko rin yan sa Vietnam. Pero kung babalikan natin, bakit ganun yung culture at hindi ganun din sa atin? Where lies the problem there?
Okay.
Kasi yun nga, more enforcers, more traffic lights, vis-a-vis dito sa walang enforcers, less traffic light, pero nasusunod naman yung kanilang mga traffic rules and regulation.
Kasi one of the cultural negatives of the Filipino people is yung mindset na ako una. Ako muna, bago ikaw.
Hindi ba ganyan din yung sinasabi lang bayan muna? And then ako muna.
Bayan muna is everyone else. Not yourself personally. In Vietnam kasi, they have mutual respect kahit anong uri ng sasakyan gamit mo. In the Philippines, you're graded and your privilege is based on how deep your pockets is. And that's the truth. Look at this latest new policy they added to the motorcycle lane. Hindi daw, exempted daw ang mga 400cc and pataas. That adds insult to injury. Okay, that adds insult to injury. Technically, they have a reason because the big bikes cannot accommodate the traffic and they cannot squeeze in. Tapos, sabi din nila, with that exemption, pero ang big bike, kahit hindi yan sa motorcycle lane, bawal ka mag-lane filter or split. So, on that mindset, i-apply ko ngayon yung ginawa nila doon sa motorcycle lane at present. Hindi ba lane splitting na apat tabi-tabi? Di ba that's lane splitting na?
Yeah.
You're allowing that, but you're not allowing this on the big bikes that you just provided an exemption for. Hindi ba parang nagko-contradict na yung sinasabi mo, yung gusto mo at yung ginagawa mo? So the question here is, do they really know what they're doing?
Yeah, pero hindi ba it goes to the very issue of sound policy compare halimbawa yung Vietnam vis-a-vis the Philippines? Because kanina binabanggit mo rin doon, Jobert, na ito yung mga agencies tasked to ensure that we should have sound traffic management, and yet even themselves do not coordinate to each other. So ibig sabihin yan, nagkakaroon tayo ng policy coordination, implementation. Ito yung sinasabi natin na hindi tayo nakasync. So at times, naglalabas ka ng policy that even contradicts the very agency tasked to primarily see to it na implementable yung program. And that's quite unfortunate dahil whether we like it or not, dumadaan tayo, we will be experiencing this kind of chaos on our roads. Either you're riding a four-wheel or a motorcycle or PUVs. Of course, alam natin kanina, naintindihan natin kung bakit yung so far sound policy, yung number coding system. Of course, alam din natin na exempted yung mga PUVs for obvious reason. Pero doon sa aspeto ng motorcycle lane, binabanggit mo rin kanina na in other countries, you should be enjoying the same privilege as other motorists should enjoy. So, ibig sabihin, ang direction ba ng MRO dapat wala tayong motorcycle lane?
Ever since yan po talaga direction.
Yan yung direction. Okay.
Because, number one, our infrastructure does not support it.
Well, given
this,
yun. No?
This comes from DPWH.
Okay.
Number two, our policy handling, implementation, and enforcement is in itself chaotic. And UP, based on their study, said na this is unimplementable. And it's true. Until now, wala pa rin yung solid na IRR.
Pero how come that, of course, nandiyan yung mga think tank natin, university at that, and we do not listen to this kind of proposition, and we keep on insisting na no, this is the right way to do it.
Yun na nga ho ang pinagtataka ko. Kasi every time we have a hearing about the motorcycle lane, mas marami ang hindi pabor. Even agencies like DPWH, LTO, Quezon City with the first motorcycle lane ordinance, in the end, their traffic management said, no, this is not, hindi na natin ito kailangan. And we don't agree with it anymore. Kasi even our own people tell us kung ano ang experience sa loob, and we see it. So, the answer to that question is with MMDA themselves. Pero ako, ang nakikita ko dyan, kasi paulit-ulit nilang tinatanong, and yet they continue to push it. Ang nakikita ko dito is because of the money required to maintain the motorcycle lane. Kasi to maintain it, hundreds of millions of pesos ang required. Pintura pa lang yun. Pintura pa lang yun. The signages, mas malaki. And they're applying it on every single road. Kahit yung mga kalsada na hindi talaga kayang i-accommodate at imposible na ma-accommodate because again, the design of Metro Manila is not properly done. Urban planning here, the best urban planning we can do right now is to move everything that we can move out of Metro Manila and back into the provinces and make cities out of those places. Pero ayaw ng tao dahil nga sa problema ng provincial rate. Mas malaki daw ang sweldo din sa Manila, kaya sila nagpupuntahan din sa Metro Manila. But the fact of the matter is, the cost of living here in Metro Manila is much worse. And what you lose in money sa traffic doubles that cost. Yun ang hindi nare-realize ng tao kasi walang nagtuturo or walang vocal enough to tell the people the truth.
Pero doon sa hierarchy ng mga agencies, no? Dahil binabanggit natin, of course, kanina nga, ang pagkakabanggit mo, of course, MMDA is not under the Department of Transportation.
They are not.
But basically, hindi ba dapat in the hierarchy of agencies, considering that Department of Transportation has a national in scope, dapat ito yung nagtitimon ng lahat ng mga policy.
Dapat.
Di ba? Ideally, dapat ganun.
Dapat.
Ibig sabihin yan, whatever may be the decision of the MMDA or other agencies or even the local traffic agencies should align with the department's, kung meron mang roadmap yan.
The actual mandate. Okay. Let's talk about the actual mandate. MMDA, by the name, is Metro Manila Development Authority. Okay. they're tasked to help the LGUs, make Metro Manila better. Okay, they started out as road cleaners, and then beautification. It was never part of their mandate to control traffic, because that mandate belongs to two agencies only. DOTR, sa ilalim ng DOTR is LTO, and then you have DPWH, which they should be working together hand in hand. Kasi DPWH maintains the roads, LTO implements the rules and regulations for the road. So sila dapat yan eh. And then pumasok ang MMDA. For some reason, I can't seem to find how they became the traffic, management group. And then came the new local government code. Pero there is nothing also in the local government code that they can supersede national law.
Right.
But they started making their own traffic code in the cities. So ngayon, yung role ng actual agency na dapat responsible dito, inaagaw na ng LGU, inaagaw na ng MMDA. Doon na nagsimula ang gulo.
Well, palagi ko obvious yan. Yung how we look at it in a chaotic manner dahil binabanggit nga natin, halimbawa doon na lang sa case ng confiscation ng driver's license. Clearly, sinasabi nga nung Republic Act 4136 that a provincial, city, or municipal board cannot pass an ordinance that runs contrary to the very provision of Republic Act 4136, and 4136 provides that only LTO can confiscate driver's license. And not only that, during the time of then Secretary Abalos even issued a department order citing that LGUs have no power to confiscate driver's license. So, settled na sana yun. In fact, meron pa nga mga jurisprudence that kumbaga reinforces that position. But even up to this very day, meron pa rin mga LGUs that keep on confiscating driver's license. So, sa ganitong klaseng scenario, talagang yung mga nangyayari na may policy disconnect ka, mayroon kang hierarchy issues kung kaninong mandato ba ito, or even the mandate itself ng isang agency. Pangatlong issue rin dito, yung bang, that's a exclusive jurisdiction. Though, of course, kanina, sinasabi natin na questionable yung extent ng mandate. Pero boss, itong mga issue na to, this has been an issue long before. Pero bakit hindi man lang, ito, nasa 20th century na tayo, problema pa rin natin ito. Local government code was passed in 1991.
In fairness to MMDA, okay, the agency, since its conception, when Bayani Fernando was there, Bayani Fernando nakikinig. He listens to the people. As an engineer, he has to look at all avenues and come up with the best result, di ba? Some say, well, that's not political will. Dapat kung ano yung naisip mo, di ba? You push for it. Pero hindi. You really have to listen to the people because they're the ones affected by these policies. And then came Orbos. Napatigil namin yan with Orbos kasi he saw the merits of our issue. So, hindi man nasagot yung letter namin during that time of Orbos, but Orbos acted on it. Kasi the first question that was raised with him is, ano ba talaga ang IRR natin dito, lalo na sa mga U-turn, 200 meters pa, 100 meters pa? Those were the first questions eh. And then when he looked at, when he asked for the IRR, nobody could produce it. Nobody could produce an IRR that has very specific rules and regulations. At sabi niya, bakit natin ito ginagawa? Bakit natin ito pinatutupad? If the effect is negative, we shouldn't be doing it. Yun yung nangyari doon kay time ni Orbos. But, his time in MMDA was short-lived eh. And every time MMDA changes their leadership, somehow, naitutulak ulit ang motorcycle lane sa kanilang mga ini-implement. So, every year na nangyayari yun, we have to fight and fight and fight again. in hopes na may makinig, katulad ni Orbos, katulad ni Chairman Bayani Fernando. But now, we think it's high time that we address the issue on a legal basis. All these things that we're talking about, the questionable things,
Well, palagay ko,
we're just going to push for the court to decide on it.
It's high time that, kumbaga, we have to raise the bell, so to speak, no?
Yes.
Dahil if we keep on discussing lang, walang mangyayari dito eh. Kasi ito, 20 years ago, ito pa rin ang problema natin. But bago tayo magtapos, Boss Jobart, batiin lang natin yung mga nanonood sa atin, no? Si Noel Marpel, good morning. Si DJ Abelia, ayan, shout out daw from Western Bikutan Riders Club, Philippines. Si Derek Morillo, more power to you. Ito, sana all, naka-Vietnam Traffic Observation, si Molab. Si Press, no? Of course, watching si Yamamoto.
Yes.
Yeah, good morning daw. Ang tanong naman ni Don Gabriel Villanueva, meron pa raw bang second wave yung ating Unity Ride, no? So, mukhang napabuntong hininga ka, boss.
Alam mo, sa totoo lang po, yung mga ganyang klaseng movement, yan ang pinakaayaw ko pong gawin. Ayaw ko po. If we can fix it on the table, let's fix it on the
that's
table.
true.
That's the best way to do it. And that's how democracy works. Look at LTO. Hindi pa rin nila fully ini-implement yung amendments to the Motorcycle Crime Prevention Act because they're still working on the problems, the loopholes, you know. Ayaw nila ng band-aid lang. Gusto nila streamline. That's what I like about LTO now. Ganun sila magtrabaho. Bakit hindi kayang gawin yun ng MMDA? Diba? If they want to implement something, call in all the stakeholders, discuss it, debate about it, argue about it, and come up with the best solution. Not a solution based on opinion. Huwag naman sana, I'm hoping I'm wrong, dahil maganda yung budget na pumapasok for the motorcycle lane.
Ganun ba? Yung budget, talagang nakatutukan.
Hundreds of millions.
Of course, si Romeo Balangkit Jr. Watching from Samar. Mabuhay daw po yan. So, si Caroline also watching in Iligan City. So, sa lahat po ng mga nanonood sa amin, magandang umaga po sa kanilang lahat. Of course, Boss Jobert, it's been always a pleasure discussing with you on matters of road safety. Alam ko kung gaano kalalim at kalawak, how extensive your experience into this advocacy. Kulang na lang all your life into this, no? So we're very, very fortunate that indeed you have this kind of engagement with us. At bago tayo magtapos, of course, your parting statements sa ating mga viewers.
Okay. Road safety is a shared responsibility. We have a role to play in it. Lahat po tayo. We cannot cry and say something is amiss or foul ito if we're not even correcting ourselves. We have to learn how to practice what we preach. Yun yung sinasabi dito. Hindi ho namin kinokondone yung maling gawain ng tao. In fact, we want people to learn from their mistakes, to be held accountable. That's why yung misconception na lumalabas ngayon na we're against NCAP, we're not against NCAP. We're actually one of the people or the groups that advocated for NCAP. Pero ang dami pang problema ng NCAP na dapat munang ayusin. Yun ang lagi namin sinasabi. Before you apply something, make sure all your bases are covered. Hindi yung blind lang ang gagawin mo. Tayo naman, mga riders, we have to do our part, you know, in making sure that we are within the what law provides. Wag natin baliin ito and then say na dinidiscriminate tayo. We have no right to say we're being discriminated kung tayo mismo ang nagko-cause ng problema natin. Now, we call on everyone na maging maayos tayo sa kalsada, maging safe, you know. Don't violate rules and regulations para maging valid yung ating mga pinaglalaban.
Well, thank you very much. At yung huling meeting natin bago mag-election, yung induction ng Shimmery Blue Diamond Eagle, yung ating regional convention noon. At again, sa lahat po ng nanood at nakiisa sa amin, ito po ang ating Political Frontiers, bagong programa po ng Vantage Point Media. Ito po si Attorney Alex Sabaton at mabuhay po ang bagong Pilipinas. Thank you, boss.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, I would like to congratulate LTO9 because this Congress, this Road Safety Congress, has been conceptualized by our very own Regional Director and Region 9, Attorney Aminula Abaton.
Minsan sinasabi ko sa kanila, gawin man po natin itong Road Safety Congress na to, hindi. So sweldo at so sweldo pa rin tayo. 15 kada 30, so sweldo pa rin tayo. Pero do we live with that kind of guilt that we know that we have to do something? Ganun lang po yung naging panawagan namin. And I think it's about time that this issue should be in the front line, should be put in the agenda, it should be the prime fight to ensure that our children will be safe while going to school and while going home. Bahagi po yan ng kampanya ng ating convergence at nangyari lang po yan dahil sa sama-sama at paniniwala. Paniniwala po na kung ano yung krusada natin pagdating po sa road safety, dapat po natin maituloy.
Road accidents or road crash is very common in the city, and I would like to thank our LTO for spearheading this activity. On behalf of the city government of Zamboanga, let us really come up with doable solutions to prevent further accidents and further deaths in our highways.
We're very excited to have this activity, and we hope that this Congress will be like our Congress. Hindi nare-realize ng karamihan na itong mga nangyayari na injuries, death, so forth, mas marami ang nanggagaling mula sa aksidente sa road crashes.
We in the city government of Zamboanga as mayor commit to exercise all our efforts in support of our road safety to ensure that every life of every citizen will be protected from accidents. Director Aminula and the entire LTO, enhorabuena contigo. Congratulations for being an exemplar in service and really acting on the #1 problem in our region.
Let us do justice to what we're doing today. More than signing the manifesto, alalahanin po ninyo. Tayong lahat, road safety is about saving lives. And who knows, the life that we'll be saving might be yours.
Malaking bahagi ng aksidente or dahilan ng pagkakamatay sa Pilipinas ay dahil na rin sa kapabayaan sa kalsada at hindi ligtas na kalsada. Kaya naman ang Zamboanga Ecozone is committed to ensure that we will participate.
Enough with loss of limbs, all because of a senseless road crash. Today, we will forge a partnership because through partnership, through convergence, we can make our roads safer.
Road safety is a shared responsibility. Yan ho ay ang top priority ng DOTR. Ang kaligtasan ng mga commuters, passengers, at lahat-lahat. Ngayon na po ang panahon na kung saan ang mga drivers ay dapat mag-ingat, hindi dahil sa takot na sila ay manghuli o mapinalize, kung hindi dahil sila ay may tunay na malasakit sa mga pedestrians, sa mga commuters at sa lahat.
I hope that at the end of this workshop, at the end of the day, we can come out with our manifesto or commitment that we all of us here, the interagencies, can signify our concrete intention really to foresee that indeed road safety advocacy should be the fight that we must all fight on all fronts.